We had our first studio session. And it's like so much she had to say to me. Just like she was apologizing for everything. She wanted to get it all out. And I was taken back, but it was great. And it was like having my sister back.
Me and Brandy and Natina all went and we performed 808 on stage, which was super cool. Just to finally get back on stage, it meant more than I can even express right now.
Guys, do you all remember the R&B group from back in the day, Blaque? Well, if you ask me, the group should have been more successful than they were because they were literally the total package. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. But word on the street is that since they were a threat to Destiny's Child, Matthew Knowles did the one thing he knows how to do best, make them disappear. But did that involve the unaliving of Natina Reed as well as the group's mentor, Lisa Left Eye?
When they came back together, boy, the bond was so strong. Nothing was going to separate these three girls. But then, within a couple of days after that, I got a call. And on the other line was Sky. And they said to me, "You haven't heard?" And I said, "Heard what?" And it said, "Mom, Natina's dead."
Baby, here's a comprehensive dive into the rise of the group Blaque and exactly what happened to them. So for a bit of background, in 1994, Shamari Fierce formed her first girl group with a rotation of members, including her Atlanta high school classmate, Natina Reed. They soon met a producer who was looking for an urban country singing act, and he took them under his wing, naming the four-member band Boots. While still in training, Natina left the group a year later after her father, a reverend, no longer agreed with his daughter performing non-religious secular music. Shamari had to find a replacement, and with the help of vocal coach and manager Cinnamon Robinson, they found a replacement for Natina Reed and renamed the band Intrigue. With the help of the vocal coach, the members of Intrigue received dancing and acting classes and were able to acquire further experience in the recording studio. And in 1995, Brandy Williams was added to the group, but Intrigue still struggled to secure a record deal. Now, after her parents' divorce, Natina Reed began pursuing secular music again and met talent scout Ronald Lopez, brother of Lisa Left Eye Lopez, while singing jingles to earn extra cash. Ronald was the co-owner of a production company named Black House, and he agreed to manage Natina and even hired her to write for his sister's band, TLC. In the meantime, he was also looking for an outlet for Natina, who suggested a band and asked Shamari to join her. In return, Shamari invited Brandy to join as well, and Blaque was officially formed in 1996.
Well, I actually met Shamari when I was 12 years old. We were doing talent shows around Atlanta. She was in a group, and I was a solo artist. They wanted a fifth member, so I joined the group, and Shamari and I stayed close. And once her and Natina got together and formed Blaque, they needed a third member. Here I am. Here you are.
Now, the inspiration behind the name Blaque stood for believing in life and achieving a quest for unity in everything. I mean, that's really beautiful, right? Anyway, in hopes of securing the trio a jumpstart to their career, Ronald Lopez asked his sister to begin mentoring the group and arranged demo recordings and photo shoots for them. Because Lisa loved them so much, she officially signed the group to her company, Left Eye Productions, a company that sought to form, mentor, manage, and promote solo or group talents of many genres from all over the globe. 6 months after their formation, Left Eye then made the group audition for Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola, who offered Blaque a deal with Columbia Records, and the rest, as they say, was history.
So we hooked up with Ronald Lopez, which is Lisa's brother, and we were signed to Black House Management, which hence how we got the name Blaque. Right. So he ended up taking us over to Lisa. We performed for her, and she was like, "Y'all my group now." So she stole us away from her brother, which was perfectly fine. And she took us and got our first record deal, and the rest is history.
For those who recall, Blaque was responsible for some of the biggest hits back in the day, and they released a couple of hit singles off their 2 albums, self-titled Blaque in 1999 and Blackout in 2002. Their singles 808 and Bring It All to Me actually reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. And I'm sure y'all also know that Lisa's influence on the group's career was unmistakable, especially in their maiden album, where the three even struck a pose that strikingly resembled TLC. Lisa is also the one who mentored them as they got into the music world, and also connected them to the who's who in the industry. Unfortunately, Lisa Lopez passed in 2002 after a road accident while on a spiritual retreat, and her demise presented a significant career setback to the group. Natina was particularly devastated because she was the closest to Lisa, and after she passed, Natina told BET, "Every night, me and Lisa would just laugh and talk about old memories. We lived together previously within the last 3 months, right before my son was born. She was the kindest person on earth. She took very good care of me while I was pregnant." Now with Lisa gone, Natina stepped up and made sure that the girls were still getting deals.
So now because Lisa's gone, Natina is like, yo, I'm stepping up to the plate. I'm gonna make sure that I get you girls a deal. She flew herself to New York City. She sat down with Sylvia Rhone of Elektra Records, and she talked her way into Sylvia Rhone saying, yes, I'll give Blaque a record deal.
Well, things took a turn when Natina told the group that she wanted to do ministry, and because the decision was hurting the group, she had to step aside.
We went live on a radio interview, and we were talking about, yeah, we're working on our album, we're doing this, we're doing that, and Natina gets on there live and says, yeah, I won't be doing Blaque much longer. You know, I'm going into the ministry. What are you talking about? We just got a new deal. We got a new record. The album is about to come out. And I think Shamari and I had enough. Natina got kicked out the group.
They reconnected in 2012 to work together again, but unfortunately, this is also the year Natina died after she was struck by a car while crossing the street in Georgia. According to Atlanta police, the driver of the vehicle called 911 at 10:30 p.m., and apparently he was very determined to not be at fault. Upon her death, Brandy and fellow Blaque member Shamari also issued a joint statement saying, "We are devastated by the loss of our group member, sister, and friend Natina Reed. Because of the enormous support of Blaque fans and our love for each other, Blaque officially reunited this fall, and we were in the process of working on a new album and a reality show." Natina continuously embodied the pioneering spirit of Blaque, and her undeniable creativity touched the hearts of fans everywhere. Natina was a mother, sister, accomplished songwriter, artist, and friend. We ask for your prayers at this time for Natina's family. She will forever be missed, and her global influence eternally felt. We thank God for the experiences we shared. Obviously, Natina's death was another huge blow to the group, and also another significant setback since they had just started working together again. But even though it was really difficult, her bandmates spoke and have still been speaking very fondly about the last performance she had, which was just months before she passed on.
Me and Brandy and Natina all went, and we performed 808 on stage, which was super cool. Just to finally get back on stage, it meant more than I can even express right now.
When they came back together, boy, the bond was so strong. Nothing was going to separate these three girls.
You know, it is understandable that they had to take a step back after Natina's death, because Natina was basically the backbone of the group. And after a 7-year break, the group finally released their album Torch in 2019, but it didn't do that well. Well, I've already mentioned some things that contributed to the group's demise, but do you want to know what else was a huge contributing factor? Matthew Knowles. The thing is, Matthew Knowles was the one who managed Blaque, and since they had 2 top 10 Billboard hits with 808 and Bring It All to Me, and their self-titled debut album went platinum, you would think that with those stats, they would have been the top priority for Columbia, and they would have been able to build off that momentum for a successful career as a girl group. Blaque was also attached to some of the biggest pop acts at the time, and some of the biggest singing groups of all time. But for reasons which have never been revealed, their music was shelved. Blaque Out was actually shelved at the last minute by Columbia Records with no explanation. And around this time, Natina and her boyfriend and future baby daddy, West Coast rapper Corrupt, started feuding with Corrupt's ex, Foxy Brown. Now, the assumption has always been that Matthew Knowles allegedly had their music shelved because they were competition for Destiny's Child. I mean, we've all heard the stories of other artists who were sabotaged or blacklisted in the industry because they were either a threat to Destiny's Child or Beyonce directly. So it's actually believable that Matthew shelved Blaque's music because they were a threat to Destiny's Child. Remember, Matthew also frustrated other members of Destiny's Child so that his own daughter could shine. So again, it wouldn't be surprising if he intentionally shelved Blaque's songs. For reference, former band members of DC, LaToya Luckett and Latavia Roberson, actually filed a lawsuit citing Matthew's clear favoritism. The lawsuit claimed that Matthew attempted to gain legal guardianship of LaToya and Latavia and refused to share financial information with them and their parents. In fact, the girls also claimed that they did not even know they were kicked out of the group until they heard the hit song Say My Name. Also, when asked what kind of manager he was, Latavia Roberson said said Matthew did not mince his words, and it can be tough to take that kind of criticism when you're a little girl. We would try not to let it break us, but Kelly was a sensitive one, and sometimes she would go to her room and cry. In addition, we also had Farrah Franklin, who only lasted a couple of months in Destiny's Child, and Matthew said that the group had decided to part ways with Farrah after she missed a string of shows. But Farrah said that she didn't show up to the events because she had already quit the group after allegedly being mistreated by Matthew. She also claimed Matthew had lied to avoid the blowback of having yet another member leave the group since 2 members had already left.
Well, that's not true. I've never missed a show, ever, or I would have got kicked out the group. You know how much I was getting paid to do a show, and that's the best part of my day? I'm not missing any shows. But when I leave the group, they weren't honest with people and say that I left. They were trying to give themselves more time to clear the air or whatever, but I've never missed a show, ever. And like I said, if I would have missed the group, then they would have kicked me out. So you can't say I'm missing shows if I'm no longer a part of the group anymore. That's a lie. Bold-faced one.
I mean, when it comes to Destiny's Child, even the ones who stayed didn't really have the best experience with Matthew. For instance, in 2002, Kelly was asked why Destiny's Child decided to take a break, and she told CNN that it was their manager's idea for each of them to do their own solo records. But the real reason why he encouraged them to go solo was because Matthew Knowles was planning bigger things for Beyonce and wanted to break up the girl group so that Beyonce could pursue her solo career. There's also Michelle Williams, who also said that she was struggling to feel like herself again after leaving the group. And in 2017, she revealed on The Talk that she battled depression, and that when she expressed this to her manager, he did not have the best response. She said, "When I disclosed it to our manager at the time, bless his heart, he was like, y'all just signed a multi-million-dollar deal and you're about to go on tour. What do you have to be depressed about?" So I was like, oh, maybe I'm just tired. And let me not even begin with the countless artists and groups like Blaque who alleged that their careers tanked because they were a threat to Beyonce or Destiny's Child. I mean, it is so whack. But in the end, Matthew always got what he wanted. Well, as for where Blaque members are right now, Shamari joined the Housewives and has Brandy. She said she wouldn't mind being the next Bachelorette, but as far as music is concerned, they haven't really spoken about what they would want to do with regards to that. So again, to a lot of people, it really isn't surprising that Matthew was the one who allegedly tanked Blaque's career. Yes, there are other factors, which I also mentioned in the video, but do you think that if those factors didn't exist, that Blaque would have been even bigger if Matthew didn't screw them over? And why do you think that such a promising group didn't become as successful as they should have? I can't wait to know what y'all think. So drop those thoughts in the comments.